Hey y'all, this is Taylor with Royal Gorge Anglers in Canyon City, Colorado, the oldest fly shop and fly fishing guide service and only Orvis endorsed outfitter on the entire Arkansas River Basin. Thanks so much for viewing here today. We are approaching the middle of May and just wanted to pop in with some conditions updates. We're gonna head to the river here in a moment and just kind of take a look at the river and what we've got, as we approach the middle of May. We're gonna first look at a few patterns that may be in our guide boxes here over the course of the next few weeks as we approach runoff season on the Arkansas. First, I'd like to kind of talk a little bit about what we should expect. Of course, this is very much crystal ball kind of reading. Things can change based on the weather and how things play out for the remainder of the month there. We've got some very, very strong fishing conditions and fishing has been great here. Really, the entire spring season's been phenomenal on the river. It's been one of the better and more consistent spring seasons that we've seen. Maybe not so much on the caddis side of things because we have had some cooler weather. The flip side of that is that we've had very, very consistent and heavy blue-winged olive activity throughout the spring season. And we have seen some really strong occurrences of caddis and fish keying to them throughout the life cycle. We should see a continuation of great opportunities here on the river over the course of the next several weeks, depending on how the weather plays out. Currently, we're right in that 600 to 750 CFS range at the Wellsville gauge, about the same in Canyon City. We had some really strong precipitation here over the last several days and really have maintained really strong fishing conditions. Now we may see some bubbles of off-color water come through. That's just something you're gonna have to roll with here, but there's always going to be clean water to get to. If you ever have any questions, please call the fly shop and we can give you day-to-day updates on that. That's something that I think is very important as we approach the middle of May and through the end of May as we edge on to that runoff season, is that, yes, fishing will maintain and be very, very productive, but you're gonna have to jump up and down the river. You may plan on an area and, we may see some mid-level, low-level, or even high-level runoff contribute to the river. Every day is going to be a little bit different, but we will have some very, very strong fishing conditions in the short term here that you should get out and take advantage of because, man, it's been great. We've had some of the best days here just recently that we've experienced all spring season. So one of the other really, really cool things, and I'll talk a little bit about this stream side, is that the variety of methods that we're able to take advantage of at this point in time. Water conditions, getting a little bit higher and just realize that we're right at average flow for this time period. So it's not higher than average. In May, we see the river, higher than it was in March. You just got to realize that that's how that works. We see more contribution of snowmelt, and springs are getting higher. Our Spring Creek contribution, and just overall the flow rate of the river is higher. We are also seeing some release out of Turquoise Reservoir that we typically don't see. However, a lot of that water that we're seeing out of Turquoise, we're not seeing out of Twin Lakes as an exchange. So really, we're right in that average flow rate. But what happens in May when we get into that 600-700 CFS level it actually helps us out a little bit. It pushes fish to the edges more, and in the softer pocket water and things of that nature. Whereas in late March and early April, fish are very spread out. We got to cover a lot of different water. I feel like fish are more congregated now, which makes things a little bit easier. Also, within that, we're able to fish dry double dropper, which is a lot of fun. Big double stack chubby, that's one of my particular favorites. And then dropping a heavy attractor nymph, definitely in the caddis pupa, caddis larva category is what I'm focusing on. Or a great Euro nymph, we'll look at something in that middle, dropper category, and then dropping a BWO nymph, BWO emerger, something like that underneath. And fish are very opportunistic on the chubby itself, the lead attractor dry that we're using for our indicator. So that's a lot of fun. Streamer fishing has really, really ramped up now. With water temperatures being more consistent, we are seeing really, really heavy streamer activity. And this next week, the second, full week of May 13th through 20th. We've got a weather forecast in the 70s in Canyon City and 60s upstream. That water temperature is going to raise up. We should see a reoccurrence of that heavier caddis activity as well that has kind of mellowed a little bit over the last 10 days with cooler weather. We should see, more and more caddis activity, and that streamer activity, of course, is something that we love. Just take a peek at our streamer wall. It's something that we love to do here at Royal Gorge Anglers, and our guides are complete experts on the streamer side of things. So a lot of variety, dry dropper, of course, hatch matching with caddis, BWOs, and there's plenty of that. There's been really phenomenal blue-winged olive hatches for the last 10 days. Again, like I said, we'll see caddis kick back up again this week, likely in a heavier fashion. And then you got that dry dropper in the mix. Of course, nymphing is a staple. We're continuing to nymph in the mornings. Typically, that's a great thing to do, though. I am leaning more on that dry double dropper with the long drop, because I love to see a fish eat a big attractor dry as well. And you're not going to catch them on an attractor dry if you're throwing an indicator. So it's a great method on our river, and the cool thing is that doesn't end. It just ramps up through the summer season, even in higher water. Upcoming, runoff conditions, you can catch fish on the edges with dry dropper. And that's one of the things I did want to, just mention, that, late in May and early June when water is big, we need to be safe. And runoff is a thing that's extremely crucial for our river and the health of the river. It's what makes this North America's longest gold medal river, is that we have healthy runoffs every late spring season. That runoff cleanses the river, pushes a lot of that sediment out. It creates a great environment for our trout fishery, and that's why we have a trout fishery that's absolutely thriving at this point in time. And so that cleansing, of course, it's a trickle down effect. It's just, the bug population is healthier, and more vibrant, and just more bugs. And then the trout obviously feeding on that bug population, that microinvertebrate population. That's what truly makes the Arkansas. So, we need to be careful, during runoff. We're not wading across the river. We're not doing any of that. We're fishing the edges, but fish can be caught throughout runoff. Streamers, dry dropper, even nymphing on the edges, and especially during that, what we term fishing in a barrel time period, when those edges start to clear. So usually, on average, 3rd, 4th week of June, when we just get a little bit of edge clarity, man, the river may still be pushing 2,500 plus CFS, but where are all the fish? They're all against the edges. And once that starts to clear, those fish have been on a treadmill for nearly a month or more, and they're ready to eat, and they're ready to eat whatever you put in front of them. So that's one of my favorite time periods, and that's why we love that, you know, late June and of course early July. Those, I will mention, are time periods that book way out typically. We do have some guides here and there, but if you're thinking, hey, man, I really want that float trip, or I want to learn how to fish the edges on foot, you know, those are time periods that are very sought after on this river. And so a lot of dates beginning to fill, if not filled already. So, you know, if that's something you're considering and, hey, I really want to fish the Arkansas during that really, you know, great fishing in a barrel time period where I could have chance at large numbers of fish on dry dropper streamers, do give us a call soon, sooner rather than later, to get on the books for something with one of our fabulous guides. So, but what I'd like to do here briefly is take a peek at some patterns that we're really going to lean on here, what we would call pre-runoff. That late spring, mid-May to late May window, which definitely, you know, requires a little bit more skill to kind of figure out and roll with the punches on water and different things there. Still great fishability for the most part here, and you'll see that when we get to the river. Really strong conditions right now for this time period. We've seen years where, you know, we're in full-on runoff right now. That's certainly not the case. So, you know, do watch our text reports, of course. Keep an eye on those on a daily basis. We're going to change those. You know, if runoff shows up, we're going to let you know. But if we've got fishability in areas, we're after it, man. We're on the water every day. We're taking advantage and squeezing every ounce of this great spring season out that we can. Let's take a look at flies. Then I'm going to meet you streamside. We're going to take a look at the river. As always, all the flies that we're looking at are available online and in store. We do appreciate your support for all the information that we love to give you folks. You know, this sport is about learning. It's about going out and having great days on the water, enjoying. We don't hold any information back on that kind of, you know, that side of things, but we do appreciate your support. Would not be in business without fly sales and gear sales and things of that nature. We're a specialty, small, family-owned specialty shop, so do appreciate that. Let's take a look at some patterns, and as always, you call us anytime, 888-994-6743, or hit us up online or via email with any questions you may have. Thanks. Okay, folks, let's take a peek at how we're going to roll moving forward through the month of May and even into higher water conditions on the Arkansas. I've organized this board based on how or the position that we're rigging flies, not so much the hatch like previous videos. We organized based on caddis, blue-winged olives, so on and so forth. Now I'm focusing on, hey, we're double, triple nymphing with these lead flies, these Euro style jigs and heavier kind of attractor nymphs and caddis pupa. You know, that's a great middle fly for a double, triple nymph rig, or underneath a chubby. And then these are our dropper nymphs here. So organizing based on position. Of course, our streamer stuff, that stands on its own. We'll talk about that here shortly. But if we are double or triple nymphing, or Euro nymphing, if I'm double, triple nymphing under an indicator, my lead fly, my first position fly, is going to be something in this category, this far left row. If I'm Euro nymphing, that's of course going to be my point fly. That's going to be my attractor at the point position. We are starting with more water, starting to fish our rubber leg style flies. So these are girdle bug, jig girdle bugs, and they are tied on that jig, lead wrap, tungsten bead. This is the old Arkansas River color that Larry Kingery used to really lean on. One of our best selling stoneflies of all time, the Arkansas River leg stone. This is more of a peacock body that I really like. That darker contrast, sometimes in tinted water, helps a lot. So another stonefly nymph, a 2-bit stone, Charlie Cravens. You're gonna see this repetitively on our boards. Cranefly larva. This is Frank Smether's crane bomb, which has been fishing well, and you'll notice these are size 8 through 12, so getting larger on our stonefly stuff. Squirmy worms, we have a fantastic new pattern that you're not gonna find many places here. This is Trina's Squirm, brown and red, and what makes this stand apart is it's so durable. Tungsten bead, and that squirmy worm material, that silicone, has a chenille core, so it's not going to break, okay? It's not gonna get chewed off. It's not gonna, you know, the UV's not going to affect it. Fantastic new pattern that you've gotta go pick up a handful of each colors on. We have tan, red, and brown in stock now. Definitely throwing leeches now also, whether you throw dry dropper, maybe one under a chubby, or a lead fly or a point fly. This is Landon Mayer's mini leech, of course. Black and olive are gonna be my 2 colors of choice. So for a middle position, you know, on a dry dropper or a triple nymphing rig, you're gonna notice some great heavier Euro nymph style flies that are really going to get fish's attention in bigger water. And starting with a blowtorch, which has been one of our killer go-to patterns here this spring. The jig thrasher, which is a newer fly here at Roll Gorge Anglers, but absolutely phenomenal. Tasmanian devil, pink bead, that thing's been crushing fish for us. A Waltz worm, we carry these in a size 12 through 18, fantastic fly. Sweetmeat caddis, so caddis pupa, and with a reoccurrence of more caddis activity and warmer air temps, that's definitely going to be one to focus on and lean on. Case caddis, this is Pat Dorsey's new jig, CDC case caddis. Hot wire caddis pupa, definitely another focal point for us in the caddis category. So good attractor nymphs at the middle position, whether you're dry droppering or triple nymphing. Droppers, underneath a middle position fly, using that middle position fly for weight and to get the fish's attention. A lot of times I'm running that 30 inches underneath a dry, maybe 24 inches underneath a stone fly if we're nymphing it. And then I'll run this dropper in that 12 to 16 inch drop category off of this attractor nymph in the middle position. Clear Choice Mayfly Tungsten. This thing has been incredible this year, and you're not going to find this many places, but extended body, durable, incredible BWO nymph. And you'll see we're really leaning on blue-winged olives here. Lucent tag Perdigon for a smaller option with that red lucent tag in the butt there. 2-bit hooker colors. I'm starting to fish red and doing really well with red. Light olive, another core color. Radiation Baetis with that orange hit in the thorax. Standard tungsten bead caddis larva. This is one that we just absolutely will hammer fish with on this river and really throughout the summer season as well, but especially in the spring. Emerging Thunder, this one's been incredible. So if we're seeing blue-winged olive hatch activity, that's one to maybe throw in that 3rd position, or maybe even under a caddis dry if we're seeing fish rise consistently. Double stack chubbies, 2 different options here, okay? You've got a tan body and you've got a peacock body. Both size 10 and 12 are what I'm fishing. Double stacks rule the roost here on our dry dropper rigs. Float so much better than any other, you know, attractor dry in the market, in my opinion. So those are two colors there. And then we would drop an attractor nymph underneath, followed by a mayfly nymph. And that's a rig that we're gonna run through the summer, even with these patterns, and especially with these patterns. Caddis dries, in case you do run into a larger localized hatch, which definitely may be the case here with these warmer conditions. This is a pint caddis foam body. That's one, you know, we really lean on here at the shop. This guy here, just a high vis foam body caddis. It's called a High Rise. Been a really good one for us. Rocky Mountain Mint for our BWO. That's a purple body, kind of purple haze rendition. And then the 401K beta. So these are hatch matchers if we're seeing fish up on the surface on them. Okay, and then on the streamer side of things, we are running sink tips now, of course, with more water, or at least a 7" per second Versaleader on the end of our floating line. These are large patterns, guys. I mean, look at my hand, right? So these are 8 inches long in some cases. This is a Silk Kitty Olive. This is a new Heisenberg, Blanco's Heisenberg in that cowboy color. Really like that brown and white. Original Circus Peanut in black. And those are lead flies. And then if we want to run a trailer underneath, if we're getting follows and fish aren't committing, popping a trailer underneath it on 2X or 3X fluorocarbon, never a bad idea. Jigged Zonker is a great one. That's a lead body that we stock here. That one's been killer. And then a Thin Mint is one of my particular favorites. Okay. Again, all of these patterns available in store or online, or mail order if you want to call us, 888-994-6743, or visit us online at royalgorgeanglers.com. We always appreciate your support, and all of these patterns will continue to fish even through higher water, and especially you know, now and when we're coming off runoff in that receding edge time period. So great patterns to be prepared with, really for a long period of time here, but do expect for runoff to come down the hill here shortly. So getting on the river here in the short term, definitely something you should do. Go take advantage of this fantastic spring fishing while it's rolling on. Let's head to the river. Hey there, everybody. Beautiful May 10th evening here, coming to you live from the pedestrian bridge just below the Royal Gorge Rim in Canyon City, Colorado. A great look at the river. Really very, very strong fishability, still maintaining on the entire Arkansas River corridor. Bighorn Canyon with 3+ feet of visibility. Couple feet here in Canyon City, great fishability. And really, really clear in the middle and upper basins. And that's great news. Right around 670, 680 CFS here in Canyon City, and about 680 to 700 CFS at Wellsville, and about 500 at Granite gauge here this morning. So what that means is we're right around average flow for this time period. Got to realize we are now in May, and typically do see some mid and high level runoff contribution in mid-May and certainly in late May. However, it's been nice and cool. You can see the overcast, high overcast conditions, and you know, pretty socked in overcast conditions here, looking up towards the Royal Gorge. And we got about 6 to 8 inches of snow here up up in Upper Bighorn Sheep Canyon here last night and through the morning. Some really heavy, wet snowfall. A couple inches in Salida and upstream, some moisture as well. Got a little bit of rain here in Canyon City. You can tell we are in the banana belt here in Canyon City, just a completely different story, but some moisture nonetheless. And that's great for, a number of reasons, to keep fire danger low as we move into the summer season, especially at lower elevations, and to keep padding that snowpack that is currently below average on the Arkansas. We're probably right around 90%, maybe 95% after this storm of average snowpack for the Arkansas River Basin, but still looking great with great import water and things of that nature. So really in a great position for great water throughout the season here on the Arkansas. A great outlook for the fishery, as well as for a strong runoff to help cleanse sediment and do the things that it really needs to do on an annual basis. So looking forward to a fantastic summer season, but for now we've got incredible fishability, and really with these cooler temperatures and precipitation upstream, we should see a continuation of this great spring fishing that we've been enjoying for since early March. And you can see some birds flying around. There's some caddis in the air right now, some egg-laying, ovipositing female caddis on the water. But really these have been very, very strong blue-winged olive days. These cloudy, socked in, cooler days have been fantastic blue-winged olive life cycle days. Of course, mixing in caddis life cycle, still fish very keyed to caddis pupa, caddis larva, as well as adult caddis and egg-laying caddis, with a lot of residual caddis in Bighorn Sheep Canyon and Canyon City. Not many caddis really above Salida or, say, Stonebridge. The hatch really hasn't made it or progressed much further than that. And so you're not going to see as many residual caddis in those areas above, let's say Browns Canyon upstream. We do have some warmer weather coming next week with another cool down later in the week. We may see some caddis hatch movement up into the middle and upper basins more, but for now, we're enjoying fantastic blue-winged olive hatch activity, full life cycle activity, and being able to fish with a number of methods with great success. Yesterday was truly one of the best overall fishing days we've had this spring, and our guides were able to take advantage of fish being opportunistic on streamers. Dry dropper fishing was great out of the boat, both out of the boat and wading. Nymphing, of course, a staple at times, and just a lot of fun to have that variety right now. And that will continue with the weather forecast upcoming, still staying pretty cool through this weekend, and, that great overcast, those conditions, in cooler conditions in the forecast, we should see just a continuation of that great variety, great dry fly fishing here and there with blue-winged olive hatch activity, residual caddis in areas, dry dropper fishing with big foam chubby up top, dropping those caddis pupa, caddis larva, BWO nymphs, things of that nature, BWO emergers. Stonefly nymphs and cranefly larvae are still catching fish everywhere on the river corridor. So you know, just a lot of things going on. It's kind of a buffet line out there for fish, and we're in that spring window where they're, you know, putting calories on. So, you know, they're feeding heavy regardless of you know, what the weather presents, and conditions maintain just excellent for this time period. We'll continue to update, you know, as warmer weather arrives later in the month, as to any changes with clarity and, you know, flow rate and things of that nature that will affect fishing later in the month. But for right now, it's time to get to the Arkansas River, North America's longest gold medal fishery, and enjoy. Just breathtaking out here. I'm just kind of hanging out on the pedestrian bridge, watching the sights, the birds, rising fish here in this pocket down here as I walked over the bridge. Just a lot of fun to be on this beautiful Freestone River. If we can help you at all, please do give us a call, 888-994-6743. Email us anytime. We've got some great availability for guide trips next week and into the 3rd and 4th week of May. I believe we'll have strong fishability through next week and probably the week following that. So grab a guide trip, whether it be a wade trip, a float trip. We've got fantastic private water. We've got some of the best private water leases on this river, exclusive access to those, and we'd love to take you out for a day. Let us know how we can help. Hope you get to make it to the river here sometime soon. And then keep in mind also that our local tributaries are all fishing great. Some great small water options. Spinney Mountain Reservoirs fishing great. Our guides are doing well up there. The South Platte's been strong in certain sections. Man, it is springtime in the Rockies and we love it. But let us know how we can help you in your fly fishing adventures. We're here to assist you with your day on the water. Thanks so much for viewing, and hope to see you in the fly shop or on the water sometime soon.